My name's Jeff. What's your name?
Serge.
Sarge?
Yeah.
Okay. It's like Sarge, like Sergeant?
Serge.
Surge. Okay. Yeah. So, what's your initial reaction to that question? What do you think happens after this life, after we die?
Honestly, I don't know. I'm not a religious person per se, but I do believe in afterlife. So I think there's definitely somewhere we go.
Yeah.
Where that is, I'm not too sure. But I think our energy or spirit, whatever you want to call it, just goes somewhere.
Yeah.
At this time.
So you're kind of religious, like you believe there's more to you than just your body.
Oh,
you know
definitely.
What I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have a spirit or a soul.
Yeah. Well, I kind of grew up with a pretty diverse background. So.
What's your background?
Well, I grew up Jehovah's Witness, and I grew up in like Baptist churches also.
Okay.
So
like one parent or whatever.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I spent some time in like Catholic churches for a while.
Okay. And so I'm guessing that when you say you're not religious, you're not really involved with like a formal, like organized religion anymore.
No.
Okay. But you do believe you have a spirit. There's an afterlife. Would you say you believe in God?
I believe there's a higher power.
Yeah.
Whether that's God, Allah, Jah, whoever.
Yeah.
There's somebody up there.
Do you think this God is knowable? You know, like that we could have a relationship with this God, or is it more of an impersonal kind of like a force that is just so big that we can't?
I think it just depends on how people comprehend it. I mean, some people comprehend it more and see it as like a single entity, or some people just feel it as like a, kind of like you're saying, like a presence that's around.
Yeah.
It just depends on how you feel or see it.
Yeah. Would you, Serge, would you say that you have rejected the beliefs of your, of your upbringing, or?
No, I wouldn't say I rejected. I mean, there's still things that I kind of keep in mind, or I slightly live my everyday life that way, but...
So more like the values, would you say, like morals and things like that?
Certain things, yeah. Certain things I definitely disagree with, but there's some stuff that I can definitely see the logic behind it, so...
Yeah, but as far as... so I guess what I'm wondering is, like, if there is a God or a higher power, would you say that this God has the ability to make himself known to us in a way that we could understand?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely believe in that saying, God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
He presents himself how he does to everyone individually. Sometimes people see signs, sometimes people see figures, sometimes people meet certain folks that they feel like is somewhat of a godsend or something like that. So, he has his ways of, getting people's attention. I mean, I'm sure he knows just about all of his creation, so he knows how we all live.
And that's one thing I found, talking to so many different people, is I feel like everyone's got different experiences, different God experiences, milestones in their spiritual life, maybe they've seen a ghost of some sort, or had a influential person in their life. So, do you feel like God has tried to get your attention at all?
Yeah, I feel like somebody has.
Yeah.
In a good way, whether it's God or someone who's passed away in my life, or I've actually definitely been more into kind of thinking about ancestry. So it could be one of an ancestor of mine who's reaching out somehow in some way.
Yeah.
Whether that's God taking that form, or God sending them, or whoever sending them that way. Somebody's reaching out.
Yeah.
In a positive way,
Cool. So, so you grew up with some Baptist, church attendance, like regular? Like, what I'm wondering is...
Somewhat. I guess when I was a kid, it was definitely heavily more for Jehovah's Witness. That was really heavy when I was a kid, but we kind of stopped going after a certain point.
Yeah. Like, do you feel like you have a handle on the Bible? Like, you understand its basic message?
definitely think I have like a decent understanding of
Yeah.
it from a different perspective, just being exposed to a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I have a decent understanding of it.
Well, like if you were to like, because I know the Bible's a big collection of books,
Right.
you know. If you were to kind of boil it down to say like the basic, say the gospel message or the basic message of the Bible, what do you think that message would be? Like, how do you understand it? And different people have different ideas, I realize.
Honestly, I think it's faith goes a long way. Whether it seems impossible to find it or it seems hard to hold on to sometimes, but I feel like faith is something that I've grasped from what I know from the Bible.
Yeah. So like certain people in the Bible are examples of faith?
I feel like a lot of the situations have
Yeah.
to do with faith, whether it's realizing what's right or wrong, or trying to move a certain direction with your life and changing things around. I feel like a lot of it has to do with some type of faith.
Yeah.
And I feel like that goes for a lot of religions also.
Yeah.
It's just interpreted differently, but I feel like a lot of them have to deal with some type of faith.
Yeah.
A way of, or like an optimistic way of thinking.
Okay.
I feel like a lot of the time. Which is good. I think that's actually good. Optimism is a long way.
As opposed to, say, skeptical or pessimistic view.
I guess for the most part, but like I said, that goes back into again like how people interpret it.
Yeah.
You know, some people.
And different people have different backgrounds, and so they've kind of grown up just totally questioning everything, or totally seeing the negative, or totally seeing the positive and ignoring the negative.
Exactly. But I feel like that's one of the gifts that man has.
Yeah.
Is that we have the ability to question things.
Yeah. So you know that Jesus is huge in the Bible, dies on the cross. What's your belief about that as far as like why he came? You know, like why he died. What's the point of that? I guess.
I guess I'm not sure. I mean, he was a representation of his father. And I feel like when he can't quite come down and do something himself, he sends someone to trust. So he gave us Jesus, and he exposed man. He exposed people to what he exposed them to, and try to educate them on something that he had knowledge about. And what happened to him, unfortunately. But that's how things worked back then. And when the whole resurrection happened.
Do you feel like it was like an accident? Like he came, he was trying to teach us, but then they killed him, kind of thing? Or?
No, I don't think it was an accident at all. I mean, like I said, like we're talking about, people, we have the right to question things. Man is terrified of what they don't understand. So,
okay,
back then, people were way more superstitious than we are now. So that's pretty much how everyday life was kind of ran. So.
Now, Jesus talked a lot about the kingdom of heaven, and I know that Jehovah's Witnesses believe that kingdom is here. Eventually it's an earthly kingdom, and actually Christians do believe that too.
Yeah.
It's just that, I guess. What we would say is you go to be with God in a spiritual form, but then at the final resurrection there is a reuniting with your body, and then the new creation, the new Jerusalem comes down, and so I think there's a lot of agreement about that. So I just wanted to say I realize there is that idea that heaven is here on earth rather than just like floating around somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe in your background,
I mean, my understanding isn't heaven's what you look at.
Yeah, well,
that's one interpretation of it, and some people find it where they're at, and some people think they find it, so they go to the next one.
Yeah. So like people experience heaven here on earth.
Yeah, that's like
and
you get a glimpse of it.
Yeah. And I've I've had a lot of people tell me, well, we're going through hell right now.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know,
but
life is full of dualities, so
it is, and we have a lot of good around us as well as the bad, and whether we focus on one or the other. I think if we only had the bad, that's what hell would be, and you know, like
exactly.
You know, so I think people are kind of shortchanging that whole idea of hell and heaven.
Yeah.
You know, that heaven would be perfect. You know, hell would be perfectly bad. Do you believe you would be in heaven when you die?
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, what do I?
I want to see you there. Just met you, but I want to see you there. You know?
I would hope so. I mean, that seems like the ideal place to be, but you know, if it's my choice, yeah. But if it's not, then you know.
Do you think it's possible for a person, if God made us to be in heaven with Him forever, with our Creator forever, do you think it's possible for you to be sure you'll be going there at this point, or is it just luck of the draw when you die? You just take your chances, kind of thing, or?
I don't know. Well, like I said, it just depends on on whose choice that is.
Yeah.
I can one and fish out of water, want to be in the sea. You know, like it doesn't always happen. So
yeah.
When I pass over, and whether I have a choice in it or not,
yeah,
great. But from my understanding, what I've gathered from a lot of learned from a lot of different practices is that there is somewhat of a judgment that comes upon us once we ascend from here. So
yeah, and I think if everyone has their choice, they're going to say, "Yeah, I'll go to heaven, sure." You know, but the judgment is like out of our control. And
exactly, and no one's 100% speaking.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
It's whether you learn from the past or continue to do it.
Do you think a person could ever walk into Judgment Day thinking, I got this down, I'm all good?
I think a lot of people would.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would. I mean,
a lot of people do have that attitude,
oh, yeah,
right?
Yeah. Ignorance is bliss. For sure.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, I have that attitude. And it's not because I'm such a good person. So, and I think that's kind of like the turnoff, is that a lot of people think, if I was sure of heaven, if I was sure that I could go into judgment, and stand before God and be such a good person that He's just going to automatically let me go to heaven, well, then I'm probably full of myself, full of arrogance and full of, thinking that I'm such a great, special person.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you ever thought of it that way, but I actually believe I'm going to heaven, and I'm not a good person. I don't deserve it. So I guess what the reason that I would say that is because it's not because I'm a good person that God is rewarding for a lifetime of goodness. It's more because I'm a sinner who I've put my faith in someone else, not myself. And so it's not a matter, like you were saying, it's all about faith, Mm-hmm. God is trying to build, faith has a lot of meanings. I think it's taking on a lot of meanings in life.
Exactly.
So
it's one of those things
we kind of have to define our terms here, but just the whole idea of coming into a right relationship with God where we're trusting Him and trusting what He's done rather than trusting in our own ability to please Him, or that sort of thing.
Exactly.
So
He knows our heart. So
yeah. Well, that's the scary thing for me. It's God knows my heart. He knows the thoughts, my hidden thoughts and sins that I've forgotten about, but He still remembers.
Exactly.
And so the whole point is that God loves people, but He also loves justice, and there must be a punishment for sin. And so Jesus is the one who took that punishment in my place. So do I believe I'm going to heaven? Yes, but only because Jesus took my punishment. That should have been me on that cross.
True.
So I want to respect your time. I appreciate the conversation.
Oh yeah, no worries, man.
So
definitely interesting.
Yeah. I'll give you my card. You can see how other people have answered it.
Oh, yeah,
I
sure.
think that's kind of interesting. And do you live in the area, or?
Yeah, actually, I live not too far from here.
This is my church. It's in Bridgeport, but that's my YouTube channel. Right
Okay,
there.
cool.
So. Yeah, I like to record these to kind of set an example that we can have positive conversations. And then sometimes the people that I talk to like to look back at them and kind of review them and remember what was said or compare them to other videos on there. So you'll see a bunch of different